Hey everybody, Sue here with She Sells. So got up this morning and I spun the wheel to see if it was going to be winter or summer again. It's winter. It was 36 when I got up today. Earlier this week we had one day that was 75. I think we tied a record from 1980. So we're back to that warm, cold kind of winter. Farmer's Almanac said it was going to be a milder winter. I'm not really sure how they can predict the weather way better than weathermen. Because a couple weeks ago, the weathermen said we were going to have a big snow, shut down the whole city. Nothing happened. It was 42 degrees. I mean, really? You can't predict the weather for tomorrow? Anyway, enough of that. I want to talk to you about a couple things today, but first we're going to stop and have a little soapbox time again. For those of you that are too young and don't know what a soapbox is, I'm going to have a rant, but it's going to be mild. There's something called reseller etiquette, and actually it's just pretty much just be a nice person. I'm going back to that thing I talked about last time. So I was in a store recently, and I always think I see other resellers. I think, oh, that guy looks like a reseller. I have that stereotypical picture in my mind of what a reseller looks like. Sometimes I have seen people scan in a store before. I actually, maybe a year ago, was in a store and the lady on the same aisle as me was literally scanning. And we both knew each other were doing the same thing. Funny thing was, we were even on the same aisle but kind of picking up different stuff, so I think we were both kind of eyeing each other's basket just a little bit, but you know, we just went about our business and finished up and left. So I'm in a store a couple days back and I see this guy with a basket full of stuff, and I'm thinking, that looks like a reseller, because it's not a typical item the same person would buy a whole bunch of. It was Legos. I mean, people buy a lot of Legos, but he had a lot of the same ones. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's a reseller. I'll just walk around the rest of the store. And then I got to the section. This particular store, I usually scout out the whole store, look at the clearance, then kind of head to what I want to get, and I have sort of an order of how I pick things up. So I head over to the thing that I'm really shopping for, and he's there. And he was scanning. But I had already been to this same store, another location, so I just started grabbing. Not obnoxiously, but I just had my basket and I'm just picking this one, that one, this one, that one. And I mean, in about 2 minutes he left my area. I really don't think he left because of me. I think it wasn't his thing. He was just kind of checking it out a little bit. So now I'm still picking this certain item, and now I'm onto my second basket. And this lady comes up and she's about my age, and she says to me, oh, do you send into Amazon too? And I was like, yeah. And she alternates between bragging about how much she's bought this month and how she's already been to every store in Alabama, to being mad that other people in competition are there. She was kind of like, this is my store, and she knew the other guy was there too, and she was like, I can't believe I've been doing this for 10 years and I never see people in here. Well, I was thinking the same thing. It's kind of a story. There's usually a lot when I go there, so I just always assumed there wasn't really any resellers in there. Anyway, now I go up to the register and he's at the other register and he's spending a lot. I mean, they're ringing and ringing him, and it took me a while to check out too. So here comes Miss Obnoxious, and she's standing back a bit because it's kind of the one where you wait to see which register is going to be open. And she yells over to the manager, hey, I thought I told you you can't sell to any of my competition. Which I thought that was rude enough. But then she literally comes up to the cash wrap and she's looking at all his stuff. And I just couldn't believe the obnoxiousness of this woman. And she just went on and on and on. So So I just checked out and went to my car. I also saw that he had a van, a big transit van with a high roof, and he was from another state, and I was like, oh crap, I hope he's not going to all my stores. So then I go to bring my baskets back in, and I'm gonna just check out. I thought she was checking out because she was at the cash wrap. So now I'm gonna go back in and look at the other sections that I was gonna go back to. And I walk back in and she's still in there, and she says to me, oh, you still here? You're back? Honest to God, I almost wanted to just buy crap just to make her think that was stuff I was buying. I didn't do it. But I didn't stay in there much longer. I think she left before I did, and the lady at the cash register said, oh, you're back? And I said, yeah, I was trying to avoid that obnoxious lady. Anyway, I say all that to say, please be nice as a reseller. Usually when a person working the store will ask me a question like, what are you going to do with all this? I'm kind of vague about it, and I kind of feel them out. Because some people, you know, I had a manager tell me how to get a better discount, but he even told me not every manager at my type of store, or my brand store, whatever you want to call it, likes resellers, so I wouldn't really mention you're a reseller. So I kind of feel people out. And next time I will definitely feel somebody out who says to me, oh, you send into Amazon too. I mean, I don't have an issue with talking to another reseller, even somebody in my area, but not if they're going to be obnoxious. So that's the only reason I would maybe feel somebody out, because I have other kind of sayings that I say, not really lying, but not really telling them exactly what I do. So next time I will definitely feel out another reseller before I just start to talk to them about reselling. It just comes down to basic decency, though. Just be nice. I'm always really nice to all the cashiers. And unless they're really trying to screw with me, or they don't know the rules of a coupon or this or that, you know, if they tell me, oh, you know, you can't use this with that, if it's really the truth, I'm not going to try and give them a hard time. I am a rule follower, and I just, you know, will go with the flow. Now, if they're wrong, I will try and get something corrected, but anyway, just be decent. So on to today's topic. I'm gonna name my video something like, can you run your business off of just BOLOs and Brickseek? I have no issue with BOLOs. I have no issue with paying for a list if that's what you want to do. I have no issue with using Brickseek for free, using paid Brickseek. I have no issues with classes, all that kind of stuff. But here's the problem. You can't buy a BOLO list and expect that to be your whole business. In 2.5 years, I had never bought a BOLO list. Last year, I joined a group. So I belong to a paid group. I belong to the Green Room. I really enjoy the fellowship there, and networking. And somebody who was in that group told me, oh, I joined this group last year, and I got more BOLOs than I could even buy at Christmas time in Q4. And so we talked about it, and I totally was not going to join. I'm busy enough. I don't know what got into me, but finally, just before the group closed for Q4, I went ahead and joined. There was also some other bonuses. There was some classes and things that were already in the system that you could look at. They had, I think, some live discussions weekly. Turned out the BOLO part of it pretty much wasn't good. I did find a few things, but I will say that I believe I got my money's worth out of it, because I found a few tips here and there that have really helped me think a different way when I'm out scanning or whatever. So, you know, I did get value out of it. But here's the thing, like, this is the point of it. You can't just go out and buy a bolo list and figure that can be your entire business. Don't let somebody else do all your work for you. I mean, you're only going to get so far with that. So just like I said, I spent some money on that group. And maybe it wasn't, I didn't get the value from it what I thought. I thought that I would get some really good bolos here and there and just add to my Q4. But again, I listened to the live talks. I usually looked at the repeat later. And I listened thoroughly, and I picked up some tips of how people did things different than I did. And so I learned from that. So my takeaway from that also is I got one really good bolo, and it was at a store that I never find anything myself at. So I learned to look at that store in a different way. I still don't get a ton of stuff from there, but I never was too much into seasonal, and now I think I have a different way of looking at seasonal, and I'll probably use that store again next Christmas. Earlier than I did this year, because the things that I bought ran out very early and I couldn't find them anymore. So I was kind of glad that I jumped on a few of them at the beginning. I'm sorry that I couldn't have bought a lot more. It was a product that I thought would never sell myself. Like, it's nothing I would have scanned and thought of ahead of time. It's totally a home decor product, and I just never would have thought to even look at that section. It's sort of an everyday product, but made it a seasonal look. I'll just tell you what it was: a shower curtain. Like, who the heck buys a holiday shower curtain? Well, apparently a lot of people, because I sold out very quickly. So that's what I say. Get the bolo list. There's nothing wrong with getting a bolo list, but use it in the way of research. So go out and get that particular product, but figure out, why is that particular product selling? Is it just because it's a really good price at the moment? Or is that whole line, or maybe a different brand of that same product, a different design of that same product? Is that an area I should start looking at? Is it in a totally different part of the store that I've ever looked at? Start looking at that part of the store. So that's why I say use it as research, not an all-out, I'll sign up for these 6 bolo lists and they will do all the work for me. I just don't think that's the way to go. Again, every business is different. You can do your business your way, I can do mine. We can still both make money. We can still both not make money. But I think that's a much better use of bolos, is to learn a new category, to learn a new part of a store, to learn a new store. Now, I'll give you some more information on knowing a store, because I'm a big proponent of learning a store, learning it really well, learning what the stickers mean. I've been shopping at Walmart for 2.5 years as a reseller, and maybe a year and a half ago, I was looking at some clearance, what I thought was clearance in the electronics, and one of the employees just started talking to me, and he mentioned to me, I always thought all the yellow stickers were clearance, but I noticed at times it would sort of have the same price in the corner. Like, it used to be $14.97 and it's still $14.97, but it's a yellow sticker. And what he told me was that just means they're not going to carry that product in the store anymore. So it is still not on clearance, but it's a yellow sticker because they're not going to carry it anymore. So not every yellow sticker is a clearance sticker. But I think it was Millennial Hustler, Millennial Sorry if I got your name wrong. He pointed out that there's a date in the bottom of that sticker, and that tells you the last markdown date, and I just never noticed that before. I don't know how I didn't notice it, because I know Target stickers are like that. So what I'm saying is learn a store and learn it well. You can always be learning new things, just like I learned that after a year and a half. I never noticed that before. So there's a store that I'm shopping right now, and I'm doing about 5 states. I have done it, this is my 3rd year in a row of doing this store. And they have a sort of clearance, sale, whatever, this time of year. So last year, I literally put in my phone calendar, start watching for the clearance, January 25th. It didn't start exactly that day, so I'm still not sure if they started on a certain date, or I feel like they started at February 1st this year, but I know that I was already selling the product last year by February 1st, so I don't know how they pick the date that they start these clearances. But I'm watching for it. So that's another tool to your research. Once you've been selling a while, look back and see what you sold last year at this time, because you will forget over time what products you were selling last year. And maybe you'll remember, you know, overall I was selling this, but you start looking through your sales and you go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So however you do it, you know, you can look back through your Amazon. You can pull up a report for this month last year, or Inventory Labs, either way. You can pull it up, and you can also sort, well, at least in Inventory Labs, you can sort by most profitable SKU, you know, different things like that. Any way you do it, if you look over last year what you sold, that's another way to be sourcing for this time of the year, this month of the year. And of course, add to those every year. So I'm out starting this now. That lady who was the obnoxious lady told me she's been to every store in Alabama already, and that's where I'm headed. So we'll see if she bought everything or not, because she was talking like she has spent tens of thousands of dollars. But honestly, the sale only started a week or so ago, so we'll just see. I'm not even worried about it, because even if she was there and even if she spent thousands of dollars, she could be buying different things than I'm buying. So I'm really not worried about it. And you know what? If it ends up being a total bust, I'll just go to some other stores I know there, because I'm headed to Birmingham and there's plenty of stores there. Sorry for you people in Birmingham if I'm picking up some of your stuff, but friendly competition, right? So then it's the same exact thing with Brickseek. You know, I think people get wrapped up in the new shiny object, so all of a sudden people are talking about wholesale on YouTube. And people jump and buy the $2,000 class on wholesale. I'm not bashing anybody who's got a class, and I'm not bashing anybody who spends the money on it. Because actually, I remember having this discussion with Scott, the Bearded Picker, a couple years ago. I felt like people were kind of taking advantage with, you know, selling a class that was so expensive. And what he was saying was, first of all, I say this as well, nobody has to buy it, nobody's forcing you to buy anything. But he was saying, if people don't have time, you can pay to learn in a shorter period of time. And I agreed with that. The problem is, so many people jump on the latest shiny object, and this is going to be the end-all, do-all, and take the class, but then never do anything with it. That's where it becomes an issue. I know people who take class after class, sign up for this new app, that new app, but they don't really get out there and do the work. And it's not going to really work unless you put the work in. You can take a $2,000 class, or a $50 class, or a $25 class, or buy an ebook, or anything like that. Watch free YouTubes. But if you don't do the... Sorry, interrupted with a phone call there. But what I was saying is, you can buy classes, ebooks, watch free YouTubes, buy apps, but if you don't put the work in, it's not going to help. It's not a magic thing to take a class or buy a new app and automatically start doing well in business. Now, you know, it's perfectly fine to buy tools and use them and help improve your business. So I had talked about this in the last Brickseek video, that people, you know, I think heard about Brickseek more, jumped on Brickseek, maybe paid for either the $10 or the $30, and then they just start complaining. You know, I get sent these emails, and by the time I get to my store, they're all gone. Well, if you want to know more about Brickseek, I talked about that more in detail in an earlier YouTube. And so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that, but it's just another tool. Like, maybe get the free Brickseek and learn how to look up things at Walmart, how to look up stock. Try it out a little bit, use it for free. Learn the different parts of it that you can use on the free app. Because really, on the paid ones, you'll get a further distance of search, you'll get a little bit more daily deals. There are some additional things that you'll get with the paid ones, but most of it you can do in a limited fashion on the free one. So why don't you use it for free for a while and see if it's a tool that will be helpful for you, and then move on to the paid. It's just like Mile IQ. You get a certain number of drives for free. See if you like that type of app over another. But I always say, when you're buying one of these apps that gives you 7 days free, 10 days free, a month free, make sure it's a time. Make sure you're going to try it out at a time that you have a little time. I tried out tactical arbitrage for a while. You got 7 or 10 days free, I can't remember which. But I made sure it was not a week that I was traveling that I tried it out. And I said to myself, I'm going to try it out every night for 7 days and really see if I can learn it and it will be a useful tool for me. And I did then purchase it for a month or 2 months and use it further, but I'm not using it right now. Might I go back to it at some point? Yes, but it didn't sort of fit in my toolbox at the time. I'm not saying it's a good tool, I'm not saying it's a bad tool, I'm not saying everyone should use it or no one should use it, but it wasn't for me right now, or when I stopped using it. I think it might have been getting into Q4 and I just was too busy, and it's a very time-consuming tool for the way that I was using it anyway, and it just wasn't working with what I was doing at the time. Like I said, it may be something I'll use again, but in order for me to get my money's worth out of it, I had to spend more time than I had at the time, if that makes sense. So again, back to Brickseek, it's not the end-all be-all, and I talked about that in more detail, why sometimes Brickseek is not accurate, and it's not really the Brickseek app, it's the inventory at the stores themselves. I don't want to get all into that again because I've already talked about that in more detail, but so it's not an end-all be-all. It's not, oh, I'm going to pay $29.99 a month for Brickseek and then I'll be able to find every deal there is out there and run my entire business off of that. No, it's a tool in your toolbox. Just like many other tools, it can help add to your business. It can help teach you maybe different categories, different places in the store to look for deals. But you just really can't run an entire business, in my opinion, off of BOLOs and Brickseek. Somebody else may have a different opinion of that. It's just my opinion. And I say over and over, I've already said it today, that you can run your business the way you want to, and I can run mine, and we can still both be successful. But I think in any business, you're going to have to put some work into it. You can't just go off of things that you hear and be able to know everything. You have to develop your business into the way you want to do business, into what works for you. just like I said at the time, tactical arbitrage was too time consuming for me. It might work perfectly for you. You might not be doing any RA, you might be doing only OA and online arbitrage, and you absolutely need that that app, or that way of doing things. So the other thing, and I've talked about this before, is look at what you're spending on your apps, your Chrome extensions, that kind of thing, month to month. I have been paying for how many, which tells you how many items your competition has. Like you can look up, you can scan something, and when you're deciding if you want to buy that or not, you can look up to see. Let me just give you an example. So I was buying a craft set at Christmas time, and even within the same brand, there's a dog one, an owl one, a cat one, and all of them are basically the exact same item, just a different character. So I'm looking them up, and some sell for $16.95, some sell for $11.95, one might sell for $7.95, Amazon's on it, etc., etc. But I just had a thought one day and scanned it to see how many everybody had. And I decided not to buy, let's say, the owl one, I can't remember which one it was, because the person who was selling it somewhat lowball had 225 in stock. So, whereas the other ones were kind of going up and down a little bit, and I looked them up, nobody had that big a quantity on them. So even if there was somebody lowballing, if they had 20 of them, they had a really good rank, they were going to be gone pretty quickly. There was more chance that that item was going to go up, especially in Q4, than the one that somebody was lowballing and had 225 on there. Now, I say lowballing, they might have got it through liquidation or something and paid way less than I did. So it's not necessarily that that guy's selling them and not making money on it. It's a possibility, but it's also a possibility he is making money because he got them a lot lower. But it would take me a lot longer to make money on mine when he has that many ahead of me. Now, I've been paying for that service for several months. I didn't always have that. And I just found out last week that there's also an app that'll do that for free. Now I can't remember which one it is, but I'm pretty sure that Keeple will do it as well. The only thing is, I don't know if you can get that on your phone. So I may end up still paying for how many because I can get that on my phone. But I'm going to look into it more. And if I don't have to pay for something, I definitely want to save the money on that. The same thing with Brickseek. Like, if I'm in heavy Walmart at the time, like right now I'm getting away from Walmart a little because I'm doing these 5 states of this one particular store, and there'll be at least a month that I'm working on this. I checked it on my calendar. I added it to my calendar to turn off the Brickseek paid app a few days before it expires. And then I'll probably pay for it again a little down the line, but right now I'm busy with other stores, so why should I be paying for it? I'm a big believer in low overhead, as low as possible. I also will spend money to make money or make things more efficient in my business. So I purchased a bunch of shelving last year. I purchased the camper top for this truck, and I talked about that before as well, that I really wanted to buy a cargo van, and we went round and round over buying the cargo van. And I felt at the time that to buy one big enough that I wanted to, I just didn't want to put the money out for that right now. So we paid for a camper top to the truck we already had, and it's actually the same square footage of having the smaller cargo van. So I may end up for this Q4 buying a big cargo van, but this fit the bill and cost me less for right now. So like I said, I'm a big believer in low overhead. So if I could do the same thing spending a few $1,000s on a camper top than I could spending $20,000 on a small cargo van. I'm for sure gonna do that. Especially since I felt like if I bought the small one, then I probably would be sorry and would want the bigger one, and I just didn't want to spend that amount of money right now. So use apps while you need them, but when you don't need them anymore, turn off that subscription for now. You can also save, like I pay for Mile IQ by the year, and I think you kind of get something like the same amount of paying $10 monthly. Sorry, same amount as paying for 1 year cost about the same as paying 10 months monthly. Now, that's only $59. I mean, something like Inventory Labs, that's $50 a month. I do pay by the year for that as well. And I want to say you save like 10%, I can't tell you exactly. But if you can't afford it all at one time, you know, don't put something on your credit card like that and then pay interest on it anyway. So if you can't afford it for the year, no problem, just pay for it monthly. And again, you know, if you decide that you can't, you're not using that to its fullest capacity, whatever app it might be. I just realized, I think there's one of these stores here that I forgot to put on my list. So I am going to pull off and check it out. I did my en route, but I think I missed one, so I will be back. Okay, I'm back. So basically my whole point is that there is no one tool or one magic video class, etc., that's going to make your whole business for you. Use tools when you can. Don't waste money on them when you don't need them anymore. And like I said, a tool is a tool, so use them well. Alright, so like I said, I'm doing 5 states of this particular store. I did all of Atlanta last week. I really didn't do other parts of Georgia, which I may do later. I'm off to Alabama. And I had done en route. There's like 5 places I wanted to go in Birmingham. Maybe a couple more once I got there. But as I was passing an exit, it popped in my mind, hey, I think there's a store there that I wanted to go to, and I forgot to add it to my map. Well, 3 hours later, but probably $500 or $600 richer later, I'm back on track now, except that I'm so late because it's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I left a little later than normal, a little later than I usually do when I'm, you know, going to another state, and I said to my husband, I'm going to finish today and then come home early tomorrow. We have company coming for dinner. So I've been texting back and forth with him, and I said, well, I'm running a little late and I haven't even gotten to my first stop yet. And he said, all right, but just be home in time to cook dinner tomorrow. So I will keep in touch with you during this trip and just tell you how things are going. So this was my plan, to fill the truck and spend the night, because I thought I would be shopping. I mean, there's one store south of Birmingham that I may or may not do. And it just was, I mean, I often come to Birmingham and go back home in the same day. There was just too many stores to get to. So I am going to spend the night tonight. But my plan was not to drag everything into the hotel, process it, and ship it from the road. Which is nice because that can be pretty tiring and take a long time. So I will come back to you a few more times during this trip and let you know how I do. On my way home, finished up my sourcing trip, had a really good weekend. So yesterday, Saturday, I finished up around 9:15 at the last store and headed to the hotel, but decided I was gonna just run into Chick-fil-A and grab a salad to bring back to the hotel. So I pull in the parking lot and I saw a Rite Aid there, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna run and get some Epsom salt because my feet are kind of hurting. I feel like I've broken a toe, but I never injured anything, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Just been walking way too much, I guess. Anyway, I ran in. I wasn't even sure if they were open because it was in a strip center. It wasn't like its own store. It was in a strip center, and it just had like a vinyl banner above saying Rite Aid. But I walked up to the door and it said they were open till 10, so I opened the door and went inside, and they were going out of business. So they had a lot of signs. 60% off, 70% off. Like, dang, I just wanted Epsom salt. I ended up filling up the whole cart. It was about 10 till 10, and I know that Chick-fil-A only, well, maybe quarter till, because by the time I checked out, it was like 7 minutes till Chick-fil-A closed. So I said to the lady, I grabbed all the toys I found. I grabbed some other things. I don't even remember what now, but there was plenty of stuff I wanted to go back for. So I finished checking out, and I said to the lady, what time do you open tomorrow? She goes, oh no, we're closed after today. We will open back up on the 15th, which is, I don't know, a week from now. She said, and we'll be a Walgreens. It's like, no. But you know what? Hey, at least I got, a basket full of stuff, which I wouldn't have if I had just attempted to go the next day. So I ran to Chick-fil-A. I walked in literally like 3 minutes till closing, and the lady was like, can I help you? And I said, any chance you have any salads left? Oh yeah, I got plenty of salad. Okay, and I'll take a lemonade. Nope, not a lemonade. I got my salad. I went to the hotel. I don't know why. I didn't have to bring up any stuff. I decided I was going to just bring it all home, do no processing on the road. I still stayed up really late. So then, of course, I didn't want to get up too early, so I got up. I go to make myself some coffee in the room. They had the little single maker coffee pot with 4 decafs. What am I going to do with a decaf? So I did have 1 decaf, and then I hit the road, went and got coffee. I did the GPS to 2 different Walmarts because I was going to get some more boxes. I started out really good at the beginning of the day. I had boxes made, and I packed the boxes as I'd leave each store, because that way you just don't end up with a pile of bags and you're worried about what's on the bottom. But by the end of the day yesterday, I ran out of boxes. So I went back and forth, got some coffee. I saw Shipley's donut, which looked really good, but I did not get one. Followed the GPS to 2 different Walmarts, and they ended up being the Walmart corner markets, which I tried to get boxes there before. One place I did actually find some. They didn't have much selection. Just this was months ago in Atlanta. And then I went to the next one another time, and the lady said, we're a grocery store. We don't have, moving boxes or whatever. So I was trying to find like Walmart Supercenter. I swore I had passed one when I was on my way to the hotel. But as I turned the corner and I saw U-Haul, so I just ran in there, got some boxes. Opened up the back of the truck and, put together more boxes and just stacked everything real nicely back there. So I had, moved the heavier boxes towards the back, and I had some empty boxes towards the tailgate, all set to go. Went to a couple stores, had my last store that I'm going to the 5 different states. I ran in there, and again, I saw another reseller. Now, I had already filled up half my cart in the kids section, and then I had gone back to the clearance, and I didn't see a lot there. But then I saw her, and an employee was getting her another cart. my cart, and I could hear her thinking, oh, that lady's gonna get some of my stuff. Well, I've been doing that store now for 4 or 5 days, so I'm basically getting the same at every store, if they have them, and not really scanning a whole lot of new stuff. Actually, I try to scan like a little section of something I hadn't looked at before, maybe in every store, unless I'm just in a hurry, just in case, you know, catch anything that I hadn't seen before. And went up to the register and I was checking out, and I saw her checking out. So that, we both stuck to reseller etiquette. Oh, back to when the lady was bringing her cart, I heard her say, oh, do you have a store? Well, thanks for getting rid of some of this clearance for us. We really appreciate it. So I know she was a reseller. It wasn't just in my head. But anyway, like I said, I know I caught her kind of glancing at my stuff, and I kind of glanced at her stuff, but another interesting fact, I could tell she had been there a while. So, even though she had gone through the store, I still got a couple $100 worth of stuff, and I mean stuff, pretty much basically everything I'm looking for, except 1 or 2 items that I saw in her cart. So, you know, I guess I'm just saying that to say there's room for everybody. So now I'm headed home. We're having company for dinner, and I'm an hour later than I'm supposed to be, so my husband's not too happy with me. But I thought I was doing pretty good just to get home before dark. That doesn't happen very often. So I will try and come up with another topic for next week. In the meantime, I'm headed, I don't know my direction yet, but Monday, I may start to do some processing tonight after everybody leaves, because my helper comes on Monday and I really want to get a lot done so I can leave to go out of town Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. But I had some long, hard thinking last week, and I've decided I'm going to go talk to a prep center. We have one in Atlanta. So I am going to go talk to them about starting to do my prep. I really, really had a hard time sort of giving up that control. But I think it's the one of the ways that I will be able to expand more this year. Because I'm kind of at my peak of what I can do all by myself with my helper 1 day a week. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'm at least going to go talk to them. Still haven't done the repricer, but that's in my plan too. So thanks everybody for listening. And I'd really appreciate a subscribe. And I really, really appreciate all the nice comments. I've had some questions. Feel free to ask questions. I try to answer all of them. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.